Commander Cockings and Captain Foley, yet again back for another Trekyards mission briefing, your weekly taste of theory, of discussion, of us nattering about a ship that we don't know as much about as we will later on, and that's where you guys come in. You help us to work out all the information to bring you the best episode later on down the line.
This week we're going to be looking at the Galaxy class variant. Well, not really, but kind of sort of, I guess. A kit bash, if you will. The Nebula class. There she is.
With a length of 469 metres, the Galaxy class is 642. It's a next generation of science vessel. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
And it was first seen in TNG.
And in many different configurations, which we'll get into. A much requested ship. So without further ado, onto the first picture. And this picture is great. It's of course, from Generations, the end where they're picking up the crew of the Enterprise.
Which is a great little CGI scene of having all those classic ships and movies all in one scene.
But this picture is kind of a bad picture in a way to start with because I can't see the Galaxy class because it's being blocked by the Oberth class there. So
yeah, but it gives you a good idea of how that looks like a Galaxy class saucer.
Oh, yes, indeed.
And it is really. But I'm sure we can get into that in a few minutes. But yeah, it's an interesting ship. So, as we always do, what did you think when you first saw it back when it appeared that one time when it was the Phoenix, I think?
Again, thought it was very interesting. Thought it was kind of like a reliant variation on the Galaxy class.
Yeah, I can see that, absolutely.
And I thought that was an interesting take on it. I wasn't a big fan of we'll get into that in a second. The secondary hull being there, it didn't really need to be, but...
Well, what do you think seeing Generations? I was like, oh, it's Nebula class. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought, well, it's nice to see it again.
Never saw it again, almost.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't mind. I've seen more of them, to be honest. But
well, that said, the Orbeth, nice to see that again. That was it, once, twice, three times. Orbeth. Anyway, so the next picture is interesting.
Star Trek Online.
Yeah. Okay. What's going on there?
I don't know, but the nacelles are tilted. They're not...
Oh, they are tilted. That's interesting. That's actually very cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Is this Breen, or is the Breen darker blue? So it's not Borg, because Borg has... So with Star Trek Online, you can get parts, shields, engines, weapons. Well, not weapons, but yeah, each part, deflector, you can get for certain races as special bonuses, and they change the look of your ships. This is obviously an engine grid, engines, I would assume. Possibly deflector as well, so it gives this weird look. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure which race that would be.
The Borg tends to add assimilated components on, so I don't know what this is.
Speaking of Borg, let's go to the next picture.
Ooh, that is an assimilated ship.
Yeah, that's a Borgified Nebula class, which looks very cool. I love this picture. I don't know what it is about it, but I love it.
And it's so close to Earth. Oh god, they're coming back for us in a Nebula class. First Borg cube, then a Borg cube again, then Nebula class. Not a great third wave, guys. And is it just me, or does the top, with what would normally be a very standard triangle, looks like wings with a parting in the middle? Looks much sleeker now.
Well, the Borg are back at Earth with the Nebula class. You know why? Because they're going to Mark Watney it and science the shit out of it just to assimilate us.
Martian joke. Beautiful. And the next picture. Now this is good. This shows us that Nebula did change quite a bit in TNG. You've got the first one on the furthest has 4 nacelles, which is the least seen version. The middle one is the sensor one with a big sensor, which is taken off the aircraft with the sensor pallet.
The AWOC, yeah.
Pretty much direct reference to that. Looks a bit odd. And then the third one with a general, more multi-purpose pod, I believe, is what it is.
Yeah, looks like it says solar panels on the top, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. So what do you think of the 3 different designs then? What's your take on them?
The 4 nacelle variant is very interesting. It's weird to see the same style of nacelle just shrunk down.
Yes, that is interesting.
The AWAC version, or the with the dome, I'm not a huge fan of it. It looks very tacked on and not...
Yep, exactly. If that was very, very far down and there's some detailing else, it might work, but it's ridiculous how much space there is.
Yeah.
It's literally stuck on, isn't it? I mean, that's what it is.
But my favorite, of course, is the one we see all the time. So
Yeah, and I believe that the fauna cell one that was seen in Cisco's Ready Room, and that's its only appearance on the show. So it is canon in the sense that it was seen on screen, sort of. And it was and someone on the Trekyards page did put quite a while ago the Nebula variations, and he posted that. I didn't even realize it was in the office, and it was great to see. A lot of different variations, and I think there's lots of fan variations, although I don't know if we get into them in this version. But these are the three sort of official-esque ones.
I wonder if we saw the fauna cell version in any of the Dominion War battles in the background.
Quite possibly. If we ever get a HD remaster, we'll be able to see. Hopefully we will. Unless we already did, because it's the future, because you're watching this in 2017. Then, hey, we love the DS9 remasters. There's Nebulas everywhere. I think we do definitely see the middle one on screen, don't we? But it looks better than that, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure we do. Anyway.
Next picture is Elkar's cutaway, these are always fun to look at. Okay, so we got a photon and probe launcher up on that top sensor.
Yeah, because they are, I think a lot of the Federation ones, they are dual photon and torpedo launchers. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I know some of them are weapons pods. I mean, in First Contact, we see a Nebula flying and firing, I believe, from the pod. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Although there's a lot of extra space. So if you really want to make it a weapons pod, you could really deal a bit more weaponry. But yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Stellar cartography, same as the TNG. What's that? 5 decks tall. Nice.
That's about right, yeah.
You got a full TNG captain's yacht. Very nice. Very nice. Hopefully be used more. But
looks like there's another aft torpedo launcher down there on the bottom of the secondary hull.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that makes sense. And what I see... Oh, wow, okay. So one problem with the design, and it really points out here, is that... So the TNG Galaxy class has obviously a shuttle bay there. And it does here too. Difficult to launch, given how much space there is. I mean, okay, there's a lot of space, but you know, I'd be worried about hitting it. I mean, think about it, you're coming out of the ship, you're seeing this massive pillar. But in this version... At the after the ship, it's got a shuttle bay up there and down there. So that's a lot of shuttle storage.
Interesting. Never noticed that before.
That's a lot.
But you're right. There's one at the top there.
Right above the torpedo launchers. Nice. So where the torpedoes are stored, shells are above it. Secondary explosions would be ideal there, or not ideal, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, interesting. It definitely. I do like the design that it's a very compact version of the Galaxy. You know, I mean, that sort of is the joke, isn't it? I mean, the Galaxy is this big, long ship, and this is just the sort of the nice and compressed version.
Smushed.
Yeah, I do like it for that, though. Yeah, anyway. So the next one is quite a nice shot, actually. It's doing its thing. Best way of saying it.
It's analyzing those asteroids or something.
It is. It's sciencing the shit out of it, yeah.
Hey, that's my line.
Yeah, I like it. It's nice. And they got phaser strips on the side of the warp engines, which do they on the? Yeah, they do on the Galaxy because the Galaxy is just rotated. So yeah, it's all kit bashed. But yeah, it's nice to see. I think the problem with this ship really is that there's not many new details. Internally, it's probably a bit different. But really, the details it's a kit bash, isn't it? That's fundamentally what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't have much to say about this picture. It's a nice picture, but yeah, just doing its thing. Which brings us to the next picture of the USS Sutherland, Orthos.
Yes.
And this is the AWAC version with the round thing on the top. Which
slightly,
in this version, it's lowered, which looks a lot nicer.
Yeah, it looks much more natural, which I like. And the detailing is different on this than my version. My version, I think, is pretty much just a reuse of the Galaxy. Because it's an Eagle Moss model again, reuse the Galaxy for different printing. But this has a slightly different detailing, different escape pods, much more focused on escape pods actually, I think. I like the black indent detailing on the sensor pod, that's quite nice.
Although the sensor pod is kind of bland, to be honest. There's just nothing going on. They could have added something.
Maybe the reflective surface helps bounce sensor data on it.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
So, crew of 750. Interesting.
That's okay.
Less than a Galaxy class.
But still meaty. But then again, it is roughly... It's got size for that.
Yeah.
Maximum speed 9.5 to 9.9 for 12 hours. Pretty big. And armaments 3 to 8. Type 8. And then Type 10 phaser arrays. Okay. Quantum launchers, that's good to see. That's a variation of it, anyway. Interchangeable defenses. That's interesting.
Nice.
I think this design would be ideal. So obviously you've got this version Sutherland with the sensors. You've got the version with the nacelles. Not sure what that would do necessarily for it. And then you've got the weapons pod. It'd be great if it had another version, which was a shield generator. So it became like, you know, imagine this entire thing as a shield generator with just power supply. So it just creates an impervious shield grid. So this comes in and supports other ships as just a thing that you just can't break through shields. I think that'd be a very useful support ship.
Interesting.
Can come into battle and then, modulate its transporters to beam through shields, which sometimes works. And then you can rescue people. There you go. Easy. And the next picture is very nice and detailed. Wow.
Wow.
Okay, let's get on this then. Even more shuttle support, it looks like. Especially, I think this version, you can see it has the Galaxy class as part of the saucer as a shuttle bay, because it's shuttles everywhere, including Andrew Probert's special yellow ones, which I can't remember the name of. A whole variety of shuttles here, including the Voyager ones. Bit of everything, which is nice to see.
Oh, the Sphinx sleds.
Yep, there you go.
And if you look at the shuttle bay underneath the bridge, it actually extends all the way underneath the bridge, which is interesting.
It really is. It would have been nice to see the D as more of a shuttle carrier. The small amount of bays. I know they wanted to have practical sets and all that, but it would have been nice to see really the full range that it was meant or could have had.
And here we have stellar cartography as this globe. It's 3 decks high here.
It's cool.
Hey, look, there's the Serenity.
Where? What?
At the back.
Oh,
the warp engine. This Serenity.
Fits in beautifully. Just comes out and just launches. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry for interrupting your thought. What were you going to say?
I see there's a front torpedo launcher as well, which is interestingly placed because, and obviously on the D, there is also one above the deflector dish, but it's midway, vaguely midway between the neck and the deflector. This one is directly like the half deck or the deck above the deflector, which seems a bit of a dodgy place to put it, especially since you've got to load the torpedoes. But I guess front torpedoes are there.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. If you look down to the nacelles, right after the red bits and right after the technical parts, there's 2 rooms.
Interesting.
Control areas, I guess. So obviously we've seen inside the TNG nacelles, we know there is that, so I guess that's the room. That's kind of cool. A lot of stuff going on here, and I really does feel like a big focus on shuttles.
Yeah. Well, it's scientific vessel, right? So there's a lot of point out of planets and stuff, probably. So.
And if you look at I guess this is the weapons pod version at the top, the one that I've got a model of. There's a lot of stuff in this shape, but not a lot of just rooms. If that makes sense. You can see the corridors, but not a lot of just rooms and desks and things. So I'm guessing it's very much focused on what it should be.
All right, well, let's move on to the next photo, which is Nebula Galaxy Explorer Exploratory Cruiser, Orthos.
Otherwise known as the Nebula class. I like that. It's a good name, though. So this is calling it a cruiser, not a science vessel.
Yeah.
See, I always consider it a science vessel. That's my interpretation, given its missions we sort of see it on, and it's got a sensor pod or whatever. I always take them as a science vessel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I get that.
The front view of it's pretty cool, actually. It'd be cool if they flipped it upside down. It would look neat too.
Oh, ready. I can do that. And boom, upside down.
I can do that. See, that looks cool. Maybe put the
feels upside down to me.
Maybe switch the sensor pod in the secondary hull around.
Oh, that could be
have the engines up.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
I don't know. They'd interfere with the sensory equipment, I'm sure.
Science, yeah. And the next photo is one that Stuart gleefully put in. It's the source of separation.
To be honest, I never once considered that the Nebula class even saw separated. Never once crossed my mind. But then I saw this, and I'm like, interesting. That's a cool concept. That's a cool little ship without the saucer on it.
See, for me, this ship, when I first saw it, and some part of the canon, this ship is designed as a source of separation retrieval vessel.
Oh, that's neat.
Because it's got the exact same saucer module, So as far as I know, at least at some part of the design process, the warp pod, as it is meant to fly in, pick up the source separated galaxy, then it becomes a whole ship, and then you can take it home. That's as far as I know.
Maybe that's what the four nacelle version was specifically designed for.
Well, yeah, I mean, whichever, but that's why I always think of it as a very, you can mix and match, and you can just put two pieces together because that's how it's designed. So I can definitely imagine you'd see this secondary module warping in, saying, hey, saucer, sorry you got in trouble. We'll take you home. We're your lift, and then it became actually quite a useful vessel, which is why I like the kit bashy nature of it. Yeah, it's basically a warp sled, isn't it, for the Galaxy class saucer, and I kind of love that. And I guess they thought, oh, that's such a great idea. We'll have it as that, and also as a ship because it works on its own. I like it as a phaser strip, and I like you can see the bridge module. It's good. I like the detailing of the unseparated version.
It's very cool looking for sure.
And I think you could sort of imagine they could retrofit this version to pick up a sovereign saucer or pick up. All you'd have to do is just change the method of it pulling together, and that's just almost just one deck worth of change theoretically, or two decks. So that'd be kind of cool, picking up a Prometheus saucer, picking up all these sorts of things. It's the limo, it's the it's the taxi, it's the of the Trek world.
It's the flatbed truck that hauls your nice sports car to its destination, is what it is. All right, so next picture is just another cutaway.
Even more details though. Ship component 721, slightly different. Warp's optimum speed warp 6, max safe cruising speed warp 8, but destructive speed warp 9.96. Oh dear. It's got 2 mega phasers, Stuart. How happy does that make you?
This must be faster then. Wow, cool.
Tactical cruiser. I really wouldn't class it as a tactical cruiser.
No.
I mean, it says weapons pod, and if you really decked that out actually with weapons, and this, if you look at this version, I think this is slightly bigger, more deck-wise. It looks like thicker. Imagine though if you had, because I think it would be a tactical cruiser if you put torpedo launchers, say 4 on each side, and then 8 aft. That would be very impressive, and if they're all quantums, I mean that'd be incredible. Think of it as the Akira on steroids, or the Miranda on steroids. But less shuttle bays, a lot less shuttle bays actually. Much more sided based.
The deuterium storage tanks are in a different location than this one. The other one, they were up high on the secondary hull. This one, they're kind of right above the engines near the lower part.
Yeah, and no torpedo launcher above the deflector in this one.
Yeah.
And a park. 2 parks, actually.
Yeah.
And only the single shuttle base is probably more of a science. Well, or the more war version, theoretically, if it's the tactical cruiser, after all. The next picture is another L-card, and this is a fun one because this is a Nemesis style with a slightly bluer colour palette, and we can see a push towards more technology because in this version you've got not only a runabout, mostly Voyager shuttles, but you've also got, at the top, fighters and an Argo shuttle. So this is clearly the hangar bay version, which is why I tried to keep this photo in there.
Yeah, it's a fly-through hangar bay.
Which
complement of 24...
Did it say that?
20... Yeah, complement of 24 fighters or whatever.
That's pretty impressive. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, absolutely.
There's also another runabout hangar at the bottom there at the back.
Yeah.
And the deuterium tanks are in the same place as the last one we looked at, and not the first one, which is interesting.
And there's an impulse engine in the middle there, which the other ones don't have. But I love that idea, the fly-through. That's a great idea.
All right, so moving to the next picture. This is a great shot of it with its sister ship, the Galaxy class. It's nice to see them side by side. And I think that's what makes this one look so off to me, is the fact that it doesn't have that neck. I don't know. It's not my favorite ship. Not a big fan of the Nebula class.
You know what I think? I think the Sovereign designer must have designed this. They were like, no neck, no neck. And they're like, okay, Jerry, we'll have no neck. We'll rebuild the Galaxy for you with no neck, fine.
When you have no neck, you look like a muscle builder. So it looks like a stocky little version of the Galaxy class, but I think the Galaxy class still looks a lot more refined and...
Yeah. Well, it's different purpose, isn't it? It feels different. Yeah, it's interesting. And the next photo is Star Trek Online with a very different color palette for the hull, much more silvery, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool though. I like the detailing.
I was all playing with my starships in the where you get to change their colors and stuff in here.
I always kept them classic, but yeah, this is an Earth.
I used to, and then I started messing with them. It was fun.
Yeah, they got some really strange ones. I think I have a Nebula. I'm not sure. It's a science. I don't tend to get science vessels because they're not the funnest. Well, they can be the funnest class, but I don't think I have one. Well, I don't get one free. I think I might have gone free, but I don't think I've used it very much. I have Rhode Island if that counts, but yeah, this is yeah, it's interesting.
All right, so next picture, USS Nebula specifications.
Oh, cool. First,
this should be really good.
The ship of the line. Emergency speed warp 9.7, so a slightly slower one. Duration 5 standard years. That's cool. Or, oh wow, okay. 5 standard years at warp, 20 years at subwarp, which is an interesting distinction.
Indeed.
And it says medium to long range multi-mission starship and explorer class, or classification, which makes more sense to me.
So the Nebula, current disposition, destroyed in combat at the Battle of Wolf 359, May 2367.
Poor Nebula.
24 were total class production to date, 24, plus 16 brought to space frame completion level.
That might be the ones that are picking up galaxies, because all you need is a space frame, don't you? Don't you need a fully done ship. That's interesting. Okay, 24 is not as many as I thought.
No.
That's cool though.
Yeah. Lots of technical stuff in here.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
390 pods, 6 person, 4 TS, I don't know.
Warp engines, 2 MKXIIC 5th phase matter antimatter propulsion units.
Obviously, best kind.
Yeah, I know, right?
175 torpedo casings. That's a good armament. I like it. 2 forward, 2 aft, 1 aft source separation. Yeah.
24 industrial EVA suits, 100 standard EVA suits,
and 1,050 emergency EVA suits.
Yeah. Anyway,
interesting. Lots of cool stuff.
I gotta say the commissioned 13th of January 2364, launched the 12th of April 2361. And construction commenced on July 1st, 2352. Now you know.
So it was construction commenced and it was built, finished, I should say, 9 years later. And then commissioned 3 years later. Wow, that's, for a kit bash, that's a hell of a development time or construction time.
Yeah, you would think it'd be a lot faster, right?
The Ares can be built in a year. 2 years? Can't remember. Anyway, and the last photo is from the show again. Possibly its first appearance with the Phoenix, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was that one with the Cardassians and the O'Brien's old commander, and he steals it 'cause it's his ship and ends up getting captured and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Cool, nice to see.
Great shot. I actually like the shot a lot.
It really highlights the differences because that's, you know, it's cool. It's interesting.
Yeah, the secondary hull is actually shaped a little bit differently, but...
Yeah, the Galaxy feels like it has more of a wider, sleek. It feels like they've cut that off a little bit and made it a bit more rounded in to make it a little more sleeker.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really come across in this model, but again, it could just be because it's a kit bash. But yeah, interesting. Cool. So, any last thoughts on the Nebula class, Stuart?
Little kit bashy for me. Not a big fan of it.
And that from a kit basher.
I know, right? I haven't done many kit bashes, to be honest. But yeah, I could do without the secondary hull there. If it was more like a Reliant class without that secondary hull in between the engines, I think it would look better.
And if they maybe integrated these the sensor pod fully into the shape, that could be interesting without the hole in between.
Exactly.
Make that more secondary hull.
And you got to think too, the saucer of that ship is where all the living quarters and stuff are. So you don't really need the secondary hull for that kind of stuff. So just get rid of it. But that's just my personal thought.
Starfleet, get rid of it. You heard it here first.
Captain Foley said so.
Yes.
When I'm an admiral, I can make all kinds of changes. Aren't you waiting for that day, Samuel? Where I can push a pencil. See? Pencil. Push. Pushing the pencil.
And that is it for the Nebula class. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We've enjoyed making it. And if you've got any comments on the ship, please leave them in the comments below, as you would. Yeah. But yeah, and if you like this video, please like it. If you like the channel, please subscribe. And if you really want to support us, then please go to our Patreon page and give us what you can, because $5, $10, $15, anything and everything will help us make not only the show, but improve it and bring you new and amazing content. Because guys, there is so much we want to do, and with your help, we can do it. Join us on the Facebook page. Conversations happening every day with great Trek fans who love ships just as much as you do. And you, and you, and you. And even you, Stuart. Even you.
Good.
Yeah. So that is it for this week, and we'll see you next time for another Trekyards mission briefing. Bye, guys.
Bye from Aberfoley.